Tonight, a reminder just for Dylan Lee, just to how valuable he is and how much you wish you could have him at the All-Star game with you.
Absolutely. You know, it's a tough situation because you want to take as many guys as you can. He's certainly deserving of it, and you know, I was initially kind of upset with him because he showed me up. He punched out as many guys as I did in one inning, and it took me 5. So, but yeah, I mean, even just tonight's game shows you what he's been for us all year. You know, coming in with traffic on, nobody out, 2 guys on, and in the blink of an eye, he's out of it. So, you know, hopefully we can find a way to get him there.
What's it feel like now that you sit back and say, and maybe you enjoy it more, you know, after your career's over, but to think of 10 All-Star appearances, and that's the most among active pitchers. Trout's the only one with more as an active player. What's that mean to you?
It's special, and I appreciate it. It's just crazy to think about, honestly. I try to, look at myself the same way I always have. And even just talking with some of the guys, like I remember being, a 9-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid, going through high school, getting into college. You make it to the big leagues, and there's nothing like the first one. The first one's always, I think the most special. But this is something that I enjoyed watching with my dad when I was a kid. I always watched the All-Star game. We watched Home Run Derby. So I'll never take it lightly, and I'll never take it for granted. I'll always appreciate it. So, but pretty tough to kind of wrap your head around getting into double digits.
Does this one have a little more meaning considering you had to miss a large chunk of last year?
I would say they're all special in their own way. I would say just kind of going from getting into double digits is kind of what makes this one, special. I've been here for 3 years, been lucky enough and fortunate enough to have, a great team, great training staff, unbelievable guys in the weight room, guys picking me up and getting me to 3 All-Star games in a row. So I'm just, I know it's something that goes on my resume, but when things like this happen, you think of all the people that helped you get here, and that's what I'm most thankful for.
From your perspective, what are your thoughts on how younger pitchers like J.R. Ritchie and Didier Fuentes have evolved and contributed to your bullpen?
It says a lot about who they are, the work that they put in. I think it says a lot about the Braves organization and how they've been able to develop these guys into bringing out the best in them, and hitting every step of the way the right way, and developing these guys so when they get to the big leagues, they're prepared for it, they're ready for it. You see, Didi's been here all year, and he's been just lights out, and you've seen JR kind of make some of those steps that Didi made early on in the year. So we guys have been on rehab assignments, so we have a great big league team, but we got some guys in the minor leagues that are doing well too, so it helps on the way, which is nice.
You had a couple seasons earlier in your career where you were pitching out of the bullpen. Just how does it help when transitioning on your way toward being a starter to have that experience?
Yeah, I think you're just ready to pitch. In the bullpen, you don't have 3 hours to prepare. You're not sitting in your living room thinking about, oh, I'm pitching tonight. You don't know when you're throwing. Sometimes you're throwing the 6th inning, sometimes you're throwing the 8th inning. You can come in for an out, you can come in for 9 outs. So it really just kind of simplifies things for you, and you have to throw strikes. If you go out in the bullpen, you can't walk 2 guys in an inning, because that can be the game. So and just getting out of jams. When as a starter, you have this kind of like entrance into things. Like I said about D-Lee tonight, he came in, there's 2 guys on and nobody out. He's got to figure out a way to get out of that, and I think that helps you as a starter when you transition to becoming a starter. When you get in those jams, you're like, oh, I've been here before.
We talked to you on the road trip about this team not panicking, right? And all of a sudden, here we go, offense is on roll. That's got to be great to see those guys starting to come back around. Absolutely,
and I think like I said on the road trip, every team is going to have their ups and downs, right? I'm pretty sure every team that's ever won a World Series has had a 15-game stretch where they stunk, you know, or this wasn't going right or that wasn't going right. You know, you try to limit it as much as you can, and for us, I guess we just had to get the hell out of June. But tonight was fun, you know, obviously the offense exploding. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, and that's why you never really hit the panic button. That's why the alarms don't set off. You stay the course. You know, you bunker down when the rain gets heavy, but you know that what's on the other side of that can be a night like tonight.
How much does Walt help kind of with that mindset you just talked about right now?
Yeah, having your manager just kind of believe in us, and you know, reinforcing the fact that he's got faith and trust in us during those rough times. You know, he's big on trusting his guys and you know, backing us up, which helps. You know, there could have been, you know, some things, you know, or even just watching him in the dugout, you know, there's no panic. So, you know, as a whole, you know, that kind of sends a message through the whole clubhouse, and you know, we know who we are, we know what we have in there, so it's just about doing our job and pulling our end of the road.
How would you evaluate your start tonight? I mean, the Vientos homer, 98, I mean, was that one of those tip your cap, or how would you evaluate what happened there?
Yeah, it just seemed like they figured something out in that last inning. I don't know if my stuff got a little flatter, or if they, you know, just kind of found a way to get through it, but just seemed like they were kind of on everything there in that last inning, and you know, it was a pretty good start up until then, and then you know, train kind of got off the tracks there a little bit, but you know, hey, you know, the guys picked me up when I needed them to, and that's you know, that's what this game is about. So you know, when your offense explodes like that, you can kind of have a shitty one and it'll sneak by.
How good? I know the first half's not over, but I think it says 13 starts, 1.94 ERA over that stretch. To be that consistently good throughout this first half, how good does that feel?
That's good. You know, I think that, you know, numbers and stuff like that come secondary to just making starts. You know, you want to be healthy, and then you know, you want to be consistent. So, you know, I just want my guys in the clubhouse to see when my name's on the lineup card to have some confidence and know we're going to have a chance to win. So, you know, this is a very good group of guys. I mean, you guys are in the clubhouse a lot. You know how we are. So, you know, we all have confidence in each other, no matter if I have a bad night or the offense has a night off, and bullpen, you know, has a rough one. We all have confidence in each other and you know, trust in each other to get this thing right back on. All right, here we go.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.